Gloria Dea, the first Las Vegas Strip magician, has died. Her family confirming the news to us that the 100-year-old passed away Saturday morning. Our Jaclyn Schultz talked to her last summer as she prepared to celebrate her 100th birthday.
You hold it and you get 2 balls, and you get 3 balls, and you get 4 balls. And then you disappear them again. That's my favorite trick.
How does it feel seeing this all fixed up?
Feels good. Feels really good.
It's impeccable. You took amazing care of it.
Always.
These beloved belongings gracing the stage in shows for decades are almost a century old.
5 years old.
You had that since you were 5?
Yeah.
They've been carefully restored as a labor of love by the Las Vegas magic community.
2 silks and tie them together.
She was the very first magician on the Las Vegas Strip. Gloria Dea was born August 25, 1922 as Gloria Metzner. Her father owned paint stores, but passed down a passion for the art of magic.
I remember my daddy. He taught me every little move, but he had patience. I loved it, and it was so much fun.
She was born to do magic, as magicians would say.
If I put a smile on somebody else's face, anything that was sleight of hand, billiard balls I liked. That was my favorite trick.
In search of the stage, she performed for the Earl Carroll Vanities in Hollywood in 1938 and Billy Rose's Aquacade. In 1941, Destiny called, a date to debut at the El Rancho Hotel.
Just remember, every time I'd come to Las Vegas, I'd go over a hill like that, and there you'd see the two casinos.
Before the Strip was even called the Strip, this map from the Nevada State Museum shows what was barely there at the time, a small pit stop for Californians on their way to downtown Vegas.
There were 2 things, the last frontier with the silver slipper attached to it and the El Rancho Vegas, and that's where we performed.
May 14, 1941, she graced the stage at the El Rancho's Roundup Room in a cast of performers in a variety show. The Nevada State Museum dug up what critics said in the Las Vegas Evening Review Journal. Miss Dea, a petite magician who performs her rites in tights and a cape, completely mystified the audience with her legerdemain, and her act was the hit of the show.
Oh, I loved everything about Las Vegas at the time. Well, I guess I must have been a show-off or something because I liked the attention. Shame on me. It was just fun performing here.
Gloria set her sights on Hollywood, had small parts in a number of films, and was the leading lady in King of the Congo in 1952. Years later, she entertained a special guest at her home on her 99th birthday. He wanted to meet her.
David Copperfield was the most magnificent man in the universe.
And I went to meet her, celebrated her birthday with her. She's a firecracker. She's the first person to perform here in Vegas. And I love that because we're really trying to encourage more female magicians.
Last year at one of David's shows, Gloria sat in the audience. He told the crowd she was there. How did Gloria pave the way for you today?
I look back into the past and see all the giants on whose shoulders I stand upon. If it wasn't for the people who went out there and really made magic important, I wouldn't be here. What Gloria did was, the door was open for magicians to keep performing here, so maybe I owe my career to her.
Jaclyn Schultz, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
Tomorrow, Dea will be honored in memoriam at UNLV and recognized for all the things she did with an honorary fine arts degree.